It's Wednesday. How are you? This is Kurstan. I am so excited. It's week 2 of my weekly Facebook Lives on my business page, Stamp with Kurstan Live. If you are new here, welcome. Thanks so much for joining me. My name is Kurstan Del Rosario, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the San Francisco Bay Area. Today, we are going to make these 2 lovely cards featuring the hand-penned note cards and envelopes. Let me just make sure I've got the video up here on my laptop so that I can see all of your comments. If you are joining me live, there's a little bit of a delay on Facebook, so I will do my best to keep up with your comments. If you're joining me on the replay or on YouTube, welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for finding me. There we go. Hey, Kathy, I can see comments. Woohoo! So today we are going to use these lovely note cards and envelopes, and let me just grab an empty one to show you. They are created, or they're a little larger. These are actually 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and they coordinate with Memories and More cards. And the set that this coordinates with, again, is the hand-penned suite. And let me grab my catalog here and show you. I tabbed it for quick reference. Here is this lovely suite that we are going to play with today. It's so pretty. The pastel colors work so well together, and these lovely note cards can be used with these Memories and More card packs. These are geared for kind of quick scrapbooking or pocket scrapbooking, I guess, but I use them all the time to create cards. We're not going to use them today. We're just using the coordinating envelopes and note cards, but we will be using some of this gorgeous designer series paper and the stamp set and dies, and I'll show you those in a second. Thank you. Oh, and we're going to use these amazing genial gems as well today. So I am so glad you're joining me. If you missed me last week, I'm going to start doing a live Stamp with me on Wednesdays at 2. That's Pacific time. And then if you miss it, I'll have a link tomorrow on my blog with these 2 cards as well, and a link to my YouTube video, because I will upload this later to YouTube so you can watch the replay and get all of the lowdown for putting the cards together. If you'd like these make and take kits for free, place an order in my online store, and that is shopwithkurstan.com, and I'll have all of that information tagged in the post once this video is done. An order of $35 or more will get you both of these make and take kits for free. I will send them to you. You will need stamps and ink, but anything that's cut here today that you see, any of the twine embellishments, everything that is consumable, so like paper and stuff, will be sent to you as a gift for me. If your order is $50 or more, you'll also earn Stamp with Kurstan rewards. And what that is I keep track of all of your purchases with me as a demonstrator. And once you get 8 stamps, then you can choose $40 in free product. And you earn stamps with $50 orders. So 1 stamp per $50. And all of that information is on my blog as well, and I'll link to that at the end of the video. Let's dive in to our cards. We're going to make this one first, this adorable thanks card. And you know what? I did not die cut this label in advance like I was supposed to. So let me just look. I've got this cute little basket here of pre-cut stuff that I just toss in. And I'm going to see if I have a die cut that I can use. Otherwise, I will just cut a piece of cardstock. The label I used, it actually looks just like cardstock, but if you can see it up close, it has this adorable embossed line around all four sides. And I can't even remember what die set that's from. How bad is that? Oh my gosh. So anyway, I will make sure that I get that posted, but we'll just use cardstock for now. So the products, the pieces, I guess. So we've got our envelope and our note card. And then the pieces that also go on here are cut. I need to cut my papaya cardstock. Wow, I did not do a very good job of prepping this yesterday, did I? I think I thought I was going to do it this morning and then I lost track of time. So we've got our note card and our envelope. And then we have our designer series paper here cut from the hand penned pack. And this piece is 2 7/8 by 4 7/8. And I'm just going to grab my trimmer really fast. These cards are so simple that it won't even be tough to cut this as we go. So we've got 3 by 5 for our cardstock, and that is going to layer nicely underneath that piece of designer series paper. While I have my trimmer out, I'm going to go ahead and trim off some white cardstock for my sentiment. And I think I've got a piece that fits perfectly. So I'm going to take this and shave maybe 3/4 of an inch off of it. And we'll go with that. Yeah, that works great. Crafting on the fly again. Maybe we should just do this every week because me pre-planning is, I don't know about this anymore. So all of our pieces, look how easy this is. This is all of our pieces. I am using the hand penned petals stamp set, and I am going to use this thanks stamp for my sentiment, but that's the only stamping we're doing on this card. So everything else comes together really quick for a lovely handmade card for someone special. I am just looking for my thanks stamp. And I don't think that that is mounted either, is it? Nope. I wanted to show you the die set that I used with this as well, because this die that is cut out is so adorable. And I'm also using the new In Color Shimmer Vellum. And so I don't know if the light is really going to catch this, but it's super subtle and so pretty. Look at the shimmer on that. Isn't that pretty? So this is actually cut out of another die set that I have. And I did put this on in my basket. So this is the Birds and More die set. And it has all these fun images. And this is the die that I used for that sprig. And I cut it out of that soft succulent shimmer vellum. And it adds just a nice touch to the front to coordinate with the greenery that's already in this paper. So I've got my stamp mounted here. I'm going to use my Pale Papaya ink again and stamp thanks right onto this piece of cardstock. And this is cut, this is 1 3/4 by 3/4 of an inch. If you want to just use a piece and not worry about die cutting a label. It's the perfect size for that sentiment. And everything else just gets layered. So let's get our glue. I love using my Tombow glue. Gives me that little bit of room to move my pieces and get them lined up perfectly when it's paper to paper, because I don't always put things down straight. Actually, I never put things down straight. Let's be real. So I've got that layer, my sentiments ready to go. I'm gonna wrap my piece with some baker's twine. So I've got some white here, and it's about 24 inches. You don't have to use this much baker's twine. I did because I wrapped it around 3 times. Before we do that, let's go ahead and adhere this so that we're tying our bow over our greenery. I'm going to use glue dots. I don't want to glue the whole thing down. I want it to have a little bit of freedom. So I'm going to use glue dots, and we're going to use my pick tool here and sneak, whoops, I'm gluing myself to the glue dots. It is pretty, right, Kathy? I love this paper. What's everybody up to today? How's your week going? We're at the midway mark, hump day. How's everybody doing? I'm just randomly putting a few glue dots on leaves that will hide it. Let's see, maybe one down here. I'm gonna fold that one over a little bit. I love this pick tool and glue dots. Let's see. So everything that I put a glue dot on, I want to make sure that that's going to touch my paper to really keep it locked into place and not anywhere it's not supposed to be. So I've got a couple. There we go. And that piece is just kind of flapping in the wind, which is fine. So now I've got my twine. I didn't measure it this time, but I did measure the one I put on the first one. So I'm just going to leave a little tail here to tie my bow. And then I'm going to wrap it around 3 times, just for added dimension. Oops, let's see, that one's good. I'm going to trim it off. It's very shadowy in here, guys. I think it's my window. Let me move my water out of the windowsill and close my blinds. I had it open yesterday because I was working on the Glowforge and cutting stuff. So I've got to close it now. There we go. All right. So I've cut my twine. I'm just going to tie my bow here. I'm lacing it so that it's over the foliage. Just quick and easy. You could even put more greenery on here if you wanted to make like a bouquet. I'm going to trim my tails off a little bit because that one got a little messy, and separate out my strings. And then I'm actually going to use a glue dot on the back because I don't want them to shift. I want them to stay separate like that. So I'm going to turn this over and use a glue dot and just kind of sneak it underneath these pieces here to hold those in place so that they stay separate. I'm going to put another one under this double right there. And that'll also cover up enough of it so that it's not going to be a problem on the back of my card, because I'm going to put dimensionals on the back to pop this up onto my note card and give it a little bit of depth. So here we go. Oops, I think that tail needs to be trimmed a little bit more. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna turn this over again. Just gonna put my dimensionals here. Cleaning the pantry. Oh, thanks for joining me. Of course, happy to be an influence, I guess. I don't know if it's a good influence or bad influence if you're not cleaning, but hey, everybody needs a break. There we go. All right, let's get this on here. I love these colors. They complement each other so well. They're so pretty. And I picked this specific designer series paper because I wanted to coordinate with the envelope flap as well, but also have some of that pool party pulled in because of the polka dot note card. And then I think I just buried my sentiment, so I'm going to bring this back. Now, part of my sentiment is going to touch the note card and part is going to touch this piece we've popped up. So I'm going to use two different adhesives for this. I'm going to use a dimensional on the side that's going to touch the note card so that we've got the same height. And then I'm just going to use a glue dot on the other side. If I used a dimensional on the whole thing, I would have a lopsided sentiment, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to put that, oh, right there looks good. Okay, you guys, this is almost done. How can it be? Let's grab the Genial Gems. These are new in the annual catalog, and I don't have a full pack to show you, so I will show you my well-loved sheet here. I take my dimensionals and I store them in our old wood half boxes, but these come in two colors. They are Pale Papaya and Mint Macaron, and if you can see the beautiful shimmer in these, they have a gold and holographic glitter, and some have thicker glitter chunks than others, but it's just so subtle and so pretty. And so we're gonna use these and put them onto the card. Now the first one I actually made, I put jewels on, the new In Color jewels. They are gorgeous as well. Let's see here. So I've got those. I'll show you the jewels because I thought I had extra packs of Genial Gems, but I don't. But you know what? I have a ton of these jewels. And these Pale Papaya jewels are perfect for this card, and so are the Soft Succulent. So the first one I actually made, if I can find it in my pile here. Where did I put it? I put jewels on. And then when I made another one, I put the gems on it. I have a whole nother completed card here somewhere that I have misplaced. Oh, there it is. Good gravy, guys. Here we go. I wanted to show you with the gems, or the jewels. So your kits are going to have these jewels. So if you place an order this week before Sunday night using the host code for July, or yeah, it'll be July's host code because July is tomorrow, you will get a half pack of these adorable In Color jewels. I'm just going to take it and cut it straight down the middle, and you'll get a half of these along with your card kits to make both of these cards, because these look just as nice with this card as the Genial Gems. So that's it for this card. How simple is that? I love cards that come together with designer series paper and quickly. This is such a pretty combination and so easy to do. So these come in a pack of 20. The note cards and envelopes. That's all the same design. And you can pair this with the designer series paper or with the stamps and have a huge stack of cards ready to give as a gift. How cute would this be to give as a gift? Wrap up a bunch of them in a cello bag or something and give them away, and maybe put different sentiments on them so that they can be used all year long. I love it. I might make more. So that's the first one. I feel like we're going to zip through these today because they're so easy. This is the second one. This one will take a little bit more time. So this one I paired with the stamp set. Again, the hand-penned petals and the coordinating dies. And these dies are lovely. These dies can be used with, I'm going to turn it sideways. These dies can be used with the images or independently. Some of these flowers are so pretty, and I love this scallop. It has stitching on it as well, so you can make a nice border with that. And then you've got the image the die that cuts out the stamped image. Oops, let's turn that around. There we go. It does cut it out, I promise. That image is a little smaller than the actual stamp. And then the one I'm using today is this one down here. So this one cuts out that image. I love it. They're so delicate and pretty. And I'm going to use some Stampin' Blends. So I've got all of my stuff here next to me. So this card, got my blank note card and envelope. And then I went ahead, I was gonna die cut this in advance too, but I didn't. So I think I'll just fussy cut it out on camera instead of stepping away to die cut. So I stamped it ahead of time in my Memento black ink. And I've got my scalloped rectangle here from the scallop contour dies. And then I have another one that I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you the difference because the stamp set gives you these filler stamps for the flowers. And so I wanted to just show you the difference in look you can get and the ease. If you're not into coloring, if you don't like coloring with markers and don't want Stampin' Blends, then you can use the images here to fill in your stamped outline and it looks adorable. So this is using this piece here, the stamp, and this flower, and then the leaves, this leaf and this leaf, and I just kind of alternated sizes. And it doesn't fill in entirely, it's not supposed to, so it's supposed to look like that watercolor look, but it's just as pretty. So I just wanted to show you that alternative to using the Stampin' Blends if you're not somebody that likes to color. I love to color. And also another trick, do you see my baker's twine on here? One piece is papaya and one is white. So I used my Stampin' Blends for that as well. And I'm just going to take this piece of scratch paper and my twine, and I'm going to color about 6 inches with my dark pale papaya blend and let that dry. And then I'm going to pair that with a piece of white off of the same spool to tie my bow once we're done. So I'm just going to go ahead and color this with my blend so that it gets dry, because it is alcohol ink. It dries pretty fast, but right when you color it, I'm kind of saturating this piece of baker's twine to get a nice solid image or nice solid coat on here with my blend. There we go. That's probably long enough, maybe just a little bit longer. I don't know. Yeah, I waste so much twine because I have chubby fingers, and I use a lot to tie a bow. So I'm just gonna set this aside. I cut that, and then I'm gonna cut the same amount in white. And that way, I'm just gonna let that sit there and dry. How pretty is that? That's so pretty. And we're gonna color our flower. And I wanted to use the same colors that were in the paper to match the envelope. I didn't put any designer series paper on here, but I did keep my envelope in mind for inspiration. And this green in the color of the flap here is garden green, but we don't have a blend that color, and so I played around with Just Jade, Mint Macaron, and then the light shaded spruce to kind of get this look that I've got there. But I'm going to start with my flowers. So I'm going to use my light and dark pale papaya. And whenever I'm coloring, I just go ahead and take the lids off of the two that I'm using. So I'm going to start with my dark, and I'm going to put it down towards the bottom of the petals where I think that that's going to be kind of shady. I am definitely no shade expert, so I color the way I think it's going to look nice, and I don't pay a ton of attention to like where the light is coming from. I just want it to be pretty. And I'm going to pull that color up into the petals. They blend when it's wet, so I will usually go back over what I colored and pull it out. And then once it starts to dry, it definitely looks a little different. It always looks better once it dries. So I will usually color and let it dry and then go back and add more color if I feel I need to or want to. Do you color with Stampin' Blends? I think they are the best. They're so easy to use. I just keep layering and blending until I get the tone I want. I usually, personally, I always put the light down first and then put the dark on top and then use the light to kind of pull it out. There's different ways to do it. That one's already drying a little and I can see I want a little darker color. And so this one over here too. There's a fine line between putting too much ink down and not enough. Well, I guess not really not enough, but if you put too much down, it starts to bleed outside your lines too. So that's why I like to try. I usually have a pretty heavy hand when it comes to coloring. So I try to have a lighter hand, let it dry, and then go back in and add a little more color. So I'm gonna leave it like that and move on to my blue flower and see how it looks when I'm done. And so for this one, I'm gonna use Pool Party. So I've got my light and my dark Pool Party here. I'm going to use the brush tips again. I'm going to go ahead and put my dark down first, and I just want it darker around the center of the flower. And then I'm going to go around that with my light and blend it out. And then fill in the rest so that it's kind of a gradient from the middle all the way to the tip of the flowers. I'm gonna use my dark on those little lines right there just to get a little more shading. And I'm just gonna color in the center with the light because I'm gonna cover that up in a second. So there's that. It looks like the center might not be as dark as I hoped. So I'm just going to put a little bit more color and then just blend it out just a little bit more. And we'll see how that looks. For my stem, I'm going to use 3. So again, I've got my light shaded spruce. Oops, I want the brush tip. I've got light mint macaron and dark, oh no, light just jade. So the mint I kind of used as a base. And then the jade I added here. But it doesn't seem bright enough. So if you look at this, almost looks olive to me, but not as deep. And so I really wanted to brighten this up just a little. And so I grabbed my shaded spruce and then blended it out more with my mint just for a touch of brightness. I'm going to color this right there with my shaded spruce. And then I'm going to try to pull that color out with my mint. It's a little bit of a trial and error with this because I don't want it to be super green. There we go. I feel like this part could be mixed a little better. I'm going to use my jade in here. And then kind of blend that out again with my mint. I don't want to put too much ink down because I don't want it to bleed. Sometimes it's just, I don't know, I have such a heavy hand. You can see around these edges where it's starting to kind of shadow outside of the leaf. That's okay. I am definitely no expert, but I'm having fun and that's all that matters. I want a little bit more. Which color is this? This is my spruce. Just want a little bit more on this side. There. I'm gonna leave that. I don't 100% love it. I like the one I did before a little bit better. I'm wondering next time maybe picking a different color. But it's going to be far enough away from the envelope that it's not a huge deal that it doesn't match exactly. I just like to try to keep it all kind of similar. So instead of using my die cut because it's across the room and I didn't cut this out like I was going to, I'm just going to go ahead and trim around it with my scissors. I don't mind fussy cutting at all. I like it actually. I know some people just don't, they're just not a fan, and that is okay. It's not always as clean as I would like, but one of the tricks I've learned along the way is to leave a white border around it, the same as you would get if you were using your die cuts. And then the eye is not drawn to any imperfections because that border is supposed to be there. So you don't have to worry about exact shadow, distance, size, whatever you want to call it. It looks like it was meant to be. It's so nice out today. Is it nice where everybody else is? I think that as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to take the doggo outside and go for a walk. Because it is so pretty out and it's not too hot. We have a nice breeze in our neighborhood right now. Yeah, it's nice where you are too, Kathy. How hot is it down there? Livermore is always so warm. I'm a fan of Livermore more in the fall when it's cooling off and the leaves are changing. I would melt. Oh my goodness. Okay, so there is my flower. And the rest of this comes together so easily. So really you're just taking the time. It's 75 today. Oh, that's nice. That's great. Really, you are just taking the time to color your flower. I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And on this one I put Feel Better Friend. And that is out of the same stamp set. I am going to mix it up though. If you've taken any of my classes with me, I love to have a variety of cards in my stash, and so a lot of times I will make the same card but change up the sentiment so that I have more options. So for this one, I am going to change the sentiment to anything is possible. And I stamped this in my Just Jade ink because that was the most prominent in my flower, even though I know it's not the same color as the envelope flap. So I'm just going to stamp anything is possible down here at the bottom of my rectangle. And I stuck my finger in my ink pad. So let me wipe that off before I smear it anywhere else. Stamping hazards, huh? Okay. I am going to use, so this is, I don't know if you can see this in my flower, but I have this adorable faceted white frosty dot here, which is just beautiful. And it's in the Elegant Faceted Gems, and I store those with my Genial Gems because they look very similar. And so the Elegant Faceted Gems come with 3 colors and 2 sizes each. And I'm going to use this small frosty white one here to put right in the middle of my pool party flower. And you can see now that this is dried, the shading on that is just lovely. Is it in the right spot? Who knows? Not me, but that's okay. Because I'm doing it to make it pretty. Doing it to make it pretty. All right, so I'm going to, oh, you know what? I've got my vellum. I used vellum cardstock on here to pare down the polka dots. And I know I cut that one. Where did it go? I don't see it. So maybe I did this. I don't know. Did I do this in my sleep? I swear I cut all of this stuff yesterday. Maybe I dreamt that I cut all of this stuff yesterday. Let me just grab my vellum cardstock. And I'm going to cut a piece that is 3 3/4 by 5 3/4 to give me a little larger of a border on that note card, because the note card is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So I'm taking basically a 1/2 inch off of each edge or each dimension. So 3 3/4. I have 5 3/4. And that's going to give it a nice subtle background. I didn't want to adhere my vellum down entirely. I wanted it to kind of be free flow. And you can also see adhesive through vellum. So I carefully placed my adhesive, which was my glue dots, behind where I knew I was going to cover it up with this rectangle. So I am just going to put them, I'm going to figure out where I want it placed. Hope it's even. And then while I'm holding it in place, I'm just going to stick my glue dot there. Now, glue dots are great, but they will, it will be a pivot point if you only put 1. So I'm going to put 2 down so my thing doesn't twist and shout over here. And now I'm going to put my scalloped rectangle right over that. And I'm going to use my dimensionals and pop it up in the center. And stick that down right there. I'm going to add dimensionals to the back of my flower too. some of it's going to hang over the edge, so I don't want to put dimensionals there. Because I switched my sentiment up, I actually feel like I should stick it in the center. This one I have offset, and when you offset it, you definitely want to make sure that you're not having your flower hang too far over the edge that it gets crunched when you put it in your envelope. But since my sentiment is larger here, I think I'm going to center my flower. So I'm just going to go ahead and put, I was going to say that you didn't want to put dimensionals on the part that was going to hang over, but we're just going to improv here and move it a little bit. I think that will look nice right there. Now we can grab our twine, and when you color it, your twine does get a little stiff. So I just kind of like loosen it up again, get it pliable so that I can make my bow. I'm going to take my two pieces and tie my double bow. Oops, my white is way longer than my papaya. Let's see. So I've got both of these pieces that I'm keeping together while I'm tying my bow. There we go. All right. How cute is that? And also, again, if you know me, you know that I like double bows because it gives you a thicker knot and a more substantial embellishment. So I'm just going to take my glue dot off of my roll with my pick tool and stick it right down onto my project where I want it to go. And then I'm going to stick the knot of that bow right into it. And most of it should be covered up. There we go. And now I can trim off my tails to make them even. And I have this adorable bow. I think I want to trim that a little bit more. There we go. It looks less intrusive. And the last step for this one is adding those genial gems. So let's get those papaya gems out again and stick them all around here. Because I moved my flower to the center, it's a little different. Let's see, I want to put one more somewhere. Maybe right there. This one needs to move. Where can he go? I'll put him up here. There. That looks good. That is our 2 cards today. How fun was that? I feel like this has gone by so fast. Where did the time go? So we used the hand-penned note cards and envelopes. And we made 2 adorable cards. And it was quick. Look how quick those 2 cards were. Is this one of your favorite sweets? What do you think? All right. So I will link to the video, the replay video in this post, as well as the host code and the supplies I used, and they will also be up on my blog tomorrow. I hope that you guys will come back and join me next Wednesday. We will be crafting with the Sweet as a Peach suite. We'll make 2 cards from that using that bundle and the designer series paper. So thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you guys have a great afternoon. Don't forget, if you want these make and takes for free, you can submit an online order in my store, $35 or more, through Sunday night. And I will send you the kits to make these 2 cards for free. Tomorrow is July 1st, and demonstrators can pre-order out of the upcoming July to December mini catalog, which I like to just call the holiday catalog, because it's packed full of amazing holiday goodness. So tomorrow we get to pre-order, and I'm going to overnight some fun stuff. And so join me. I'm saying Friday. Join me Friday night for a special Facebook Live, and I will walk through all of the new papers and embellishments and ribbons with you as a sneak peek, and also to show you what you could receive in my new catalog product share. If for some reason it doesn't come in time, then the live will be Saturday, but I'm really hoping that it comes Friday afternoon so I can jump on and share all of the fun goodies with you Friday night. So I will see you soon. Happy crafting!